Hello. So I had this idea since I'm on a finding my kindness journey to just spread love. So I'm gonna make a series of video. Actually, I'm gonna copy Julie from Peekaboo Rose. Hi, Julie, if you're watching this. I don't know if you're watching this, but hi. I'm gonna steal her idea of 5 days, 5 VRs, but this is not gonna be VRs. That's gonna be 5 days, 5 faves. I like the sound of it. So every day for the next 5 days, and it's not gonna be Monday to Friday. I think it's gonna be over the weekend because I'm working in the weekend, so my weekends are different than normal people. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is for the next 5 days, including today, I'm gonna share my love for a deck. And in this specific edition of 5 days, 5 faves, oh my God, if I cannot say it, it's not good, right? 5 days, 5 faves. For this edition, I'm going to talk about 5 hidden gems that I think TarotTube don't talk enough about. We should see more of those decks out there. And so I want to preface this by saying, yes, I'm going to sound like an infomercial. I'm going to talk about things I'm very excited about. I'm going to talk about decks that I really enjoy, and I feel a lot of joy and a lot of love for these things and for these creators. And so I'm going to be very enthusiastic. So please watch with caution. I'm going to be excited, so I'm going to sound like a seller. And you should, if you're sensitive, if you buy things just because you're in a phase of your life where you buy things because you hear positive things about it, please be careful. That being said, I will retain no good words. So, this deck, my friend, this is the Dirty Offerings. This is a deck made by our colleague here on TarotTube, Lennon Smith. I love Lennon Smith. I love her. I love her channel. I love her personality. And I love her uniqueness. And all of these things are here in this deck. And this is the Dirty Offering. And I haven't seen this deck anywhere, and it's really frustrating to me because it's so good, and even Lennon doesn't talk about this deck nearly enough. So the first time I saw it, it was a few weeks ago. She made a video where she was pairing the Thoth with different Oracle decks, and she featured that deck of hers. And it was the first time, I don't know, I must have been blind, I must have skipped the original video where she was presenting this deck, but I haven't seen it before. So I was very intrigued. So I went back and I watched the flip through she made of this deck. And it was 2 years ago, well, 1 year and a half, 2 years, 2 years? 2 years and a half, maybe. It was 2024. Anyway, October 2024. My calculation on that. No, 1 year and a half. 2024, October. It was out all this time. It was available all this time. It blows my mind that we are not talking more about this deck. And including you, Lennon. You should talk more about this deck because it's a gem. I love it so, so much. I had it for 3 days at this point, filming this video. I had it only for 3 days. And you're going to say, well, you don't have a lot of experience with it. When I received it, the day I received it, I fell asleep. I went to bed at 2 a.m. in the morning because I couldn't stop looking at those cards. I couldn't stop making connection. I couldn't stop thinking about these concepts and this art. And yeah, it really blowed my mind, and it continues to blow my mind. I love it so much. So this deck, unlike her previous decks, which was pictures that she find on the internet, and I have another one of her deck that I really love too. It's the, oh my god, Wild Essence Tarot, I think. No, Wild Essence Thought Tarot. That's a mouthful. And by the way, I bite my tongue. I bit my tongue a few days ago, like really a good bite. Like I cut my tongue severely, and so I had a little difficulty to articulate. Put that on top of my poor English and my accent, so it makes the whole process very difficult. But I want to talk about this deck so much. So this is the back here. It's available. I think it's both available in Game Crafters and Make Playing Cards. I recommend you to go. Well, if you live in the US, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think you're better go with Game Crafters. I don't know. I'm not in the US. But if you are in the US, don't pay attention to this. But if you are outside of the US, I highly recommend you to go with Make Playing Cards, because it's a Chinese company, and so you're not going to cross the border. I don't want to go into politics here, but the fact is that crossing the border between the US and pretty much any other countries, but us in Canada especially, it costs an arm and a leg. Like, you're gonna pay very expensively for the deck, you're gonna pay very expensively for the shipping, and then you're gonna pay tariffs and taxes on top of that, and it might be the double of what the deck costs. Also, you're not sure if you're gonna receive it, you're not sure when you're gonna receive it. It's very anxiety producing, this process. So I highly recommend, if you're not in the US, go with the Make Playing Card. You're gonna receive it very quickly. I received it, I think, 8 days before the date that was announced. I received it very quickly. So yes, that's it. Do I have to say anything else? This is the regular edition. This is not the mini. She made a mini that is not so much tinier than this, but I like the bigger the cards, the better. Unless it's unshuffleable, but this is by far not unshuffleable. I'm gonna show you. This is so silly. I should have had a regular tarot deck to show you, but I have a regular big. This is the big tot, so it's quite small. So it's the size of a playing card, but a little bit longer. It's tinier than a regular tarot for sure. So there you go with that. And the other thing I want to mention is, in her video, Lennon said, oh, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the titles of the cards, because the way she made her art, okay, I'm gonna talk about the art later, but sometimes because she scratched it from the art, the title, she was worried. Maybe if I put it on the camera, you could see. She was worried that you may have difficulty to see it. I don't know how the camera will pick on it, but I assure you, when you have it in your hand, it's very clear, no issue to read the titles at all. And the other thing is, yes, that being said, this is the larger version. I don't know how it appear on the smaller one. Maybe it's harder because it's smaller. I don't know. I have this format. So, this deck, like I said, I received it and I went to bed at 2 a.m. because I was just flipping through those cards, making connection, thinking about it. It's an art style that is very active, very fiery. I think she used pastels and charcoal to make this art, and it's very raw. It's, I want to say, almost aggressive. You don't feel assaulted by those cards, but it feels like the art was made in a rush. I channel the energy of the card and I have to throw it on the card with the colors. You know, it feels very vibrant and very rushed, but not rushed in a way that it was quickly made. Not in that way. I mean, the art itself feels like it has to go on the card. The color have to go out. You know, and it's vibrant and it feels like you are channeling the energy of the card while watching it. It's amazing. It's mind blowing. Also, the titles are very different than I'm going to show the cards, I swear, but I have things to say before. The titles of the cards makes this oracle very different than any other oracles that I own. It feels yeah, it feels very different. It feels very grounded and channeled at the same time. It's hard to explain, but it's very different. You know, it's not your classical abundance, joy, letting go. It's not this kind of titles. Don't get me wrong, those are great. And I will show you one of those oracles in this very series, my 5 days, 5 faves. But this makes it very unique. So that's what I wanted to say. Do I have to say anything else before? Yes. I'm gonna tell you what I feel about those cards. I don't think there's a guidebook. It doesn't come with anything. It's just shrink wrapped. It's just wrapped in a plastic thing. I don't know how to call it, but anyway, I find a perfect pouch because I've been watching TarotTube lately, but in a different manner. I've been watching TarotTube in a passive white noise kind of way while doing other stuff. So, when one video finished, there's another one that starts. And totally at random, Lennon said that she was really liking the dragons. So she feels really close to dragons. She feels like it's her spirit animal. And I find this pouch that I had at home, and I think it's perfect. It's perfect for this oracle, which is very fiery, very energetic, very aggressive. And so I think it's perfect for this oracle. And it used to host my prototype of my oracle that I haven't been working on for many years, but it used to host this, but now it's going to be this deck, and my prototype moved on another space because this creative things really activate and really turn on the burner on my personal creativity. Like, I want to be able to create. Well, I mean, I'm not fooling myself. I know I'm not going to create anything as good as this, but I don't know, it sparks my need to be creative. So I'm going to be working on my oracle on my own time. Okay, I think I've said everything that I needed to say. Earthy. We have Monster, which when I see this card, you see a mouth, but if you just look at this card, oh yeah, that's another thing I want to mention. There is no guidebook, so I'm sorry, I'm everywhere with this video because I'm very excited about this. But there's no guidebook, I think. I don't think there's a digital guidebook or anything. I think it's just the card. You just get the card, and really, you just need the card. You don't need anything else. But that means that I don't know the intention of Lenin. My perception of those cards may widely differ than her intention. So keep that in mind while I'm talking. This is my personal vision that I have of this art and this deck. But your vision can vary, and also it can be very different than the original intention, which is not a bad thing, since when you have a tool, you appropriate it, and whatever piece of art you see, you consume, it is part of you, and you bring yourself to, when you read a book, it is the person you are will be a part of the experience, and you will see the art in your personal way because of the person that you are. So, my vision will be different than the original intent, but it's absolutely not a bad thing. I'm just sharing what I see, what I think, and yes, may Lennon not agree with what I say, but it doesn't matter. This is what I see, and it makes me love the deck. So I don't see how it could be a bad thing. The reason I mention all this is one of the cards that, when you take it alone, monster. So it refers to this mouth, this big mouth, this big angry mouth. But because of the nature of the deck, and the more you see cards, I think, and I don't want to say this in a misogynistic way, but it may be vagina dentata. It may be that kind of monster instead, because it's very feminine. It's very close to the feminine experience, the feminine body, in a very harsh way, like in a very raw way. So, I wouldn't be surprised if the intent was not that mouth, but that mouth. Anyway, so there's that. I don't know why I feel like it was important to say this, but it's because I see the cards as a whole. That makes more sense to me as that version of this image. Anyway, journey. I'm gonna start with the cards that I have not a lot to say about. Sacrifice, formless, vessel, soulless, liminal. And it's not because I don't have a lot to say about those cards that they're not good. They're great. All the deck. I love the entirety of the deck. But like Sacrifice is self-explanatory, liminal, Power is quite self-explanatory. I don't feel like I don't feel like adding anything to those cards. Mirror is quite clear. Feral, sovereign. This is a word I'm not very good to pronunciate, but I'm gonna keep it on the side because it may relate to other cards. When I told you that those words, those titles are very different, wither, anyway, I love that. And I love the fact that the title is on different places on the card. It's not always at the bottom or always at the same place, and not always shaped the same way. Anyway, it's going to be clearer the more I go forward. Sensual, which I love this card. It really looks like lipstick on skin, the colors there. And I have a lot to say about the colors in this deck. And then finally, Crypt. Crypt with these skulls feels like a wallpaper to me, which is really scary as a concept, because it's like the wallpaper you and not seeing it, not paying attention to it eventually, right? And so it's like death that is like so many that you don't even care about. You know, it's like in the middle of a war, like there's so many people dying that it's not that you don't care, it's that you cannot care about every single individual. You care about the situation as a whole, but you cannot emotionally care about every single individual. And to me, this card feels this way, like this kind of, you have to protect yourself at some point, and you cannot give emotion to all the problems or all the things around, right? So this card is really, every cards are powerful, but yeah. So okay, where do I start? So many cards. Okay, I want to start with my favorite color is yellow, and so there's a card called Radiant. Weirdly enough, it's not the brightest yellow in the deck. There is another card that is brighter, it's Emerge. But I find it very interesting because we might see Radiant and Emerge in a similar way, but remember that Radiant is passive, like the light bulb will share light, will shine its light regardless of what's happening in the room, as opposed to Emerge, which is a really active, like you're breaking out of your shell, or you're crawling out of your tomb, or you know, there's something active, as opposed to Radiant, which is passive. And so I like that the brighter yellow is the active cards. And there are yellow on other... Oh yeah, I see Emerged, and I felt this... There's no yellow on this card, but Gestate is the title of the card here. I like to see it as the opposite of the Emerge, like you gestate, or you break free, or you get out, you emerge. Really like the duality, and there's a lot of duality in this deck that I will show you. Then staying on the color yellow, there are two other cards with yellow: Divine, which, and also Beacon. So I'm going to talk about those two together. Divine meaning this great, wonderful thing that is upstairs, so you just have to, you know, climb the stairs and to obtain it, so it's there. As opposed to Beacon, which might come from you. You may be a beacon, but a beacon of hope, for example. But it also feels in the artwork that it's, you know, a beacon of light that is very far away. So this is a clear route to what you know is divine, while this is a longer route. This is how I feel when I see those cards. And this is why it was fun to play with those cards for hours after I receive it, because one card, you may feel one way seeing one card, but then you oppose it to another card, and it gives you not measure, but it gives you layers. It gives you, yeah, the word escapes me, but it gives you a different vision of those cards. When you see, like, okay, this is available in the deck, so this would be more in that vein. Context, it gives you context, I feel, yeah. So because the cards are, you can change the context depending on other cards, it makes this deck really precise and very fine. It's great. It's great. By the way, I have played with it. I have worked with it. I have done some spreads. I've done that 9 card, my classic 9 card spread, past, present, future, the 4 element, what is helping me, what is hindering me. That that specific spread. I have done this with this deck. It was awesome. Also 3 cards, great. It's very clear, and the readings are very emotional and very. I mean, it's not aggressive, but the message really jump at you. This is how it felt. Other dualities. Here we have ancient in the gray and also immortal in the gray. But the big difference between the two cards, is that immortal have a little bit of pink in it, which means it is still alive. On the opposite of ancient, which is pure gray, black and white, and it's ancient. It's an old thing from the past that may be very important. I don't undervalue the importance of ancient, but it's set in stone. It's this old thing that is dead, that is set in stone, as opposed to immortal, which is equally old, or may be equally old, but it's still alive, it's still here, it's still breathing. So the duality here is very interesting. Here, the vine, I've done that. Do I go with... Okay, one symbol come twice in this deck is the spiral. Here you have a spiral, clearly. Bang, spiral. Name spiral. And then you have shapeshift. What's interesting to me in this card is under the spiral you see a color that is very similar to skin, so it's really human. Also, shape-shifting, you have gray that is kind of maybe sadness or maybe low energy emotions, and you have pink, which is happy or fun or more light energy, emotions. So by having the spiral here, you have shapeshift, so you switch from one emotion to another, and it might be voluntary or it might be involuntary. Like it might be kind of a Wheel of Fortune situation, or you might want to, you may be active in the shifting of the shape of your shape. So there's that. But here, because we have this spiral that is clearly about changing, here the spiral is the exact opposite. It's spiraling in the same thing always and always, like ruminating almost. It's funny because the spiral, the symbol of the spiral can be very positive, it can be a work, like in a labyrinth, like you work your way in the spiral, and then when you walk out of it, you have left your preoccupation or your bad thoughts behind, and then you go out of the spiral being free. And if there's only this card, I could read it this way, but knowing that the shape shift is there, it's a more active card. So your block here, you're spinning around, as opposed to here where you choose, or maybe you don't choose, but you are changing. Things are happening. Other cards, I find those funny. We have a Guardian card, and it's a weird choice. At first I thought it's a weird choice to have a black line right there for Guardian, but then it made me think of In French, we call those garde-fous. It's those metal thing that we have on the side of the road, so the car don't jump in a raven or a raven. Raven, is that not the bird, but the fall, the mountain? Anyway, it's a thing. I should look this up instead of trying to express anything without having the vocabulary. Let's see. Garde-fou. Guardrail. Okay, so guardrail on the side of the road. So, yes, it's less of an angel, guardian angel, but I still see it as a guardian angel because we have protect. And protect, it's like a sword, and it's very, again, active. It's, you don't touch my children. You get away from her, you bitch. It's very active. There's a sword that is protecting me, or I am protecting something, right? So, or someone. As opposed to guardian, which is also a protection, but a passive one. Again, it's active, passive. There's a lot of that in this deck, and I love it. Also, I just love the art. I think it's vibrant. I think it's the color choices are so smart. I love it. I love this deck. Did I mention this? I love this deck. Okay, here a little bit more complicated. Oh, here, while we have Protect and Guardian, I also have Embrace and Sharp. And I feel like in a reading, I guess you could pull just one card, but in a reading with multiple cards, I feel like those two cards would inform those two cards very well. Well, I could say this to any card of this deck, but still, like Embrace, Protect, Embrace would be a motherly protection, as opposed to Protect Sharp. That would be a very I don't want to say masculine, but a very aggressive protection. And Guardian, same thing. Guardian Sharp, it's like, I'm looking at what you're doing, be careful, as opposed to Guardian Embrace, which would be the Guardian Angel showing up in a reading, those two cards together, to me personally. Again, this is my interpretation of those cards, but I love this. Okay, green, the way she used green. Lennon, so smart with the colors and the words, so smart. Green, she has this card, which is War. And when you think about war, the first thing you would imagine is, like the crypt card, black and white, or brown and gray, like destruction, something have been destruct. And there is a card, a destruction card. I'll show it to you later. But war with the green looks like a place that you have to conquer, or a place that you have to defend, a domain you have to conquer, or a domain you have to defend. And because it's green, it feels like the domain itself is a good place. So this war card is not necessarily the battle, but the precious thing that you protect or try to conquer. And as opposed to war, we have peace, which is also a green card. But as you can see, and also I know it's hard to see the word war in 2026 and not thinking literally. But, it's not about the war in the world, the world war. It's about the war within yourself, or maybe the war with a colleague, for a position. It's not literal. It's hard to not take it literal at this day and time, but it's much more psychological, much more personal. And when you see the card peace as opposed to war, and you see it's still green, so it's still the same color, but it's soft. It's more turquoise and green and turquoise, but it's a lot more soft. I feel like she went with her fingers on it a lot to soften it. And so even if it's the same color, you see clearly, like you see lines here, and it's straight, and it's war, and here it's a lot more softer. And so even if it's the same color, you see clearly the difference between the two. And because it's the same color, you think of the relation between those two cards. Another card that is turquoise, soft and turquoise, is Wise. And it brings me joy, that card, Wise, because it's turquoise, and it's a much more closer to the color palette of the Peace card. So, being wise, being at peace, it's more aligned this way. There's also this card with green, Anew, and I like the fact that it's spread. It's like it's coming out of the ground, but it then spread, and it's like you have two decisions, and you could see it because it's green. You could see it as the choice you have between peace and war. And yeah, that alone, this card is very deep, but thinking about it in the context of the rest of the deck is even deeper. And so the other green card I want to show is Innocent. And I like this card, Innocent, here because it's this green, it has the war, but it's also turquoise. So it's like, I'm innocent. I'm not in peace, not in war, in the middle. That's not what it says. I'm innocent. I have the power of both. I just haven't decided yet. And if the Wise card brings me joy and makes me feel good, the Innocent card is kind of darker, because if you look closely, you see that it's not the turquoise that is erupting of this shape. It's the green closer to the green of the war. But nothing is lost. There is also yellow, so the green maybe evolving to yellow, which is joy, which is my favorite color. So there is darkness and light in this card. There is darkness and light in all of those cards, but in this specific card, it's right there in the colors. Next, we have Purple. Purple is another great color she used. So there's memory. In her video, she mentioned that it looks like waves, like it's a sea of memory. I also see it as a written book, like a journal, like you wrote in your journal. And so memory, it's fitting. What is interesting with the color purple is that she used it in few cards like Pain and Faith. Again, this looks like a scroll, so it really reflects on one another here. Seeing Pain as purple, and it's not the entire card that is purple, but it's a good chunk of it, and the word pain is right in the middle of the color purple. And so is it like we can think of a painful memory, Or is it painful to think that to think about the fate and thinking that you can't change the fate? Imagine a reading with these cards and the shape-shifting cards that I showed you earlier with the pink and the gray, how it would speak to each other, all those cards. Like it's great, it's great. Also in purple summon, so it has this we have this possibility to change a situation by summoning, by asking help, or asking to talk to someone from a higher position or from our higher powers. Also, the magic is purple, so summoning, magic, and I think that's all I have here, though I have two other cards in this package. I don't know why I put them together. Oh, and Sovereign. Yeah, this card I put on the side earlier. Sovereign feels like, because it's purple, we could see it as not mastering, but being the king or queen of our thoughts, of our past, of our memory. So this would be the positive equivalent to the pain card, between with the memory in the middle. So, the more negative side of the memory, the painful memories, or the more positive side, which is I'm over it. I'm reigning, not like rain, but like a reign, like a king. So I'm over it. So you get what I was trying to say here. Oh my God, I haven't speak English in a hot minute. And even in London, when I traveled to London, I didn't speak English that much. I mean, a little bit, but I was mostly with my friend who speaks French, so we were speaking French most of the time. Another purple card is the curse. So, positive, negative. I see purple as both, well, purple is red and blue, and so I see it as a color that could easily be a negative or a positive, be happiness or sadness. It's a very shape-shifting color, to use a word we just see. And so, this is why the cards surrounding it would be important. Curse here is interesting. Oh no, okay. I'm gonna show this card right now, because like the spirals, there are two hands in this deck. So we have curse and we have tend. And I like, first of all, the use of the color. Tend looks, I mean, I know it's a verb, but it also looks very tender. It looks very friendly. And curse is like this thing you project to hurt someone, or having having someone's hand on your mouth that is providing you to scream. So there's something really violent, and so I really enjoy having the same symbol, the hand, in two very different energy, two very different contexts. Another duality, is it duality? Not sure. But signal and express. Express is a very interesting concept, because it can be expressing yourself, but it also can be quick, like the Eight of Wands, like this is the express, go fast. And here, similarly, here with signal, it looks like a radio tower sending signal, an alert, an important message. Or I also see a bottle with a message in it, which could be a signal, but it's a very it's a very slower signal to reach, right? So it can be fast or it can be on the sea with a lot of hope and and waiting for a response, you know. So yeah, I like how those cards can mean two very different things at the same time, and we will have more duality here. The first is slither and slick, slither and slick. So those words, and you know, Lennon is very smart, very uh, literary. She have a lot of literacy. Literacy. She's smart. That's what I'm trying to say. She's smart. She's cultured. So she have a lot of vocabulary that I do have in French, but in English, I'm less certain. There is words, there is cards here that I had to Google translate to know what they're meant, because it's not words I see all the time in books and in everyday conversations. So slither and slick, from what I get, is a bit similar on some ways to see those words, but also very different in other ways. Slither, you see this green again, but you see it gooey, as opposed to slick, which should be, you know, slick, clean, like a surface, you know. But watching these two cards together, this is a snake energy, but we could also see a more masculine energy, also gross and gooey, and here a more feminine energy. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I think you understand where I was going with this. Cleanse and anoint. Those cards are interesting in a literal way, but in a figurative way, it's also interesting to think of cleansing as taking off something and anoint as putting on something. So this is a beautiful duality in those cards too. Empty. You would feel empty. You see the black here, being empty. But there's also a card called Abyss, which means this is empty in the middle of something, like it's an empty stomach in the middle of the body, or it's not, or it's a hole, but it's not nothing, because you have a card that says Abyss, which would be a void, So again, it is important to understand one card to have the other. And it depends on how they show up in a reading. They might not show together. Actually, they will most likely not show together, but it's important to think of the fact that this card exists and it's not what you see, it's the other one, right? Here we have tongues and truths. And there is a similar shape. I like truths. This is a very interesting color choices again, because it's yellow, the happiness, not just happiness, but the light. It is light in the darkness. So the truth is the light, but it has a very sharp shape. Like it's not soft like the peace card. Like it's really sharp as a shape for truth, meaning truth is sharp, and it is a light. Remember, it is a light. We need the truth to understand the situation, but the truth may be hurtful. It may be painful, it may be sharp. And tongues that has the same shape feels like, again, very sharp, very in your face. Well, the tongues are usually in the face, but you know what I mean, like the message is in your face. But because we have truth, tongues here might not tell the truth. And we have an expression in French. I don't know if the equivalent exists in English, but in French we have this expression that says viper's tongue, langue de vipère, viper's tongues, meaning the people gossiping, basically. They might tell the truth, they might not tell the truth, but you know, it's gossiping and it's not with good intention usually. So that reminds me of a viper's tongues. Here we have heal as opposed to decay. I don't have a lot to say about this, it's just a beautiful duality, heal, decay. We have the Destroy card, which is one of the cards with the most black. And here another card with a lot of black is Birth. And I like how the duality again. Like you have this birth and it shows, Lenin said it shows the birth of a crystal ball. You can see it this way. The first time I saw it, to me it was more a baby's head. But regardless, birth of the crystal ball could be a very interesting message. But yeah, so anyway, we have the black and you have birth, which could be the beginning, and destroy, which could be the ending. Birth, the creation, destroying, the destruction of a creation. So yeah, we have something here that I find very interesting. And there is a little bit of purple, which reminds me of, well, pain in the birth for sure, faith as you give life. And so the faith, this new person is starting their story and their faith. But also curse, because, you know, giving birth is also cursing someone, because being born is a death sentence. Like, if you're born, you're gonna die one day. So, you know, there's this idea here that I find interesting. And so again, birth, destruction. Oracle and Vision, I find them interesting to have them both, because I wouldn't know how I would read this in a reading, but because we have a vision card, vision is something that you have, oracle is a message that you receive, or, you know, a vision that is gift to you. I'm sorry, my English. Hard time, but you know what I mean, like one comes from you, the other comes from the exterior, the outside of you. Salivate and heady. So I like heady, this idea that either a smell or wine and alcohol that goes in your head. So I like how it is represented, but also I like that it looks like a brain. It looks like it got in your head, in your brain. And I felt that was two variations, again, the duality here, because salivate is something you produce to, you know, it's the hunger for something that you want, as opposed to heady, that is something that is in your head regardless of your desire for it. Like the smell, the alcohol, maybe you don't want it that bad in your head, but it is there. So, you know, you don't have willpower here, as opposed to salivate, which is the want, the desire. The Okay, I'm gonna go with blood and breath, which is blood. I see it because there is a breath card. It is something that you keeps you alive, but breath is a representation of being alive. Like breath don't keep you alive. Oxygen keep you alive. And it's not an oxygen card, it's a breath card. And the blood is the thing that keeps you alive. And I like also um, air, liquid, it's all in the cycle of life. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting concept. Also, the first time I saw, because English is not my first language, the first time I saw that word, I was breathe. Breathe, which is kind of a weird. Breathe is a word I would see in those oracles with words like abundance, joy, take a breath, But I thought it was breathe, and then I was no breath, breathe, breath, breathe and breath. That's your clue reference right there. But I was a little bit confused the first time I saw this card. And the last three cards are straight lines. That's the last pattern we'll see in this oracle. Mystery, veil, and weave. So weave, it's it's weaving, but it's not straight lines. So even though there are lines, I don't feel like they are in dialogue with those two cards. So I just wanted to show you because there is straight lines, but they are weaving. They are a little bit, they are not very straight, so they are more malleable than those two. And here, mystery, it's a very interesting card because you have this door here, which is a mystery. We don't see, it's not a door, it's a cave or, a hole, and you don't know what is in the cave. And so we have here a chessboard, meaning, okay, you have to be strategic. Do you go in the hole? Do you think something good is waiting for you over there? Or do you stay on your guard? Like it is for me, yes, it's mystery, but it's more about being strategic, facing the mystery, as opposed to the veil, which it's not entirely mystery. I mean, you have an idea of what is on the other side of the veil, but it is hidden, right? It has this veil. I think she mentioned it was inspired by the Empress card in the Thoth Tarot. I think she said that or something like that. Anyway, I see it. I see it. I see the veil in this card. And so, and also you don't necessarily, again, active, passive, you don't necessarily have the choice to communicate with or to interact with what is outside, what is on the other side of the veil. So again, very interesting, full of dualities. And those cards, when in a reading, it's crazy how they communicate together, how they sing together. Great. This is a masterpiece. I love this deck so much. I love it. I will use it. I will even deepening? No, study it. I will study it even further. And by studying it, I'm not meaning reading a book because there is no guidebook. I mean looking at the card and study them. Look at what they have to say. And I'm sure I will find many more things to say about those cards because they are rich. They really feel channeled. And I wish more people would know about this deck, and I wish more people would talk about this deck. Especially you, Lennon. You have this powerful tool. Show it. Talk about it. My only desire would be that we'd have the largest cards ever. Like this large, like the large tot, or even larger if possible, because I would love to have like this huge card where I can put tarot card around it. It would be an altar card. It would infuse the reading so well. But I understand that if you stretch the art, it might not look very good. So that's fine. I'm super happy with what I have already. But I couldn't help but express my desire for a bigger cards, to see them even more. So this was my okay. I promise the other videos won't be that long. It's just that this is one deck that I had a lot to say about, that I love. This is a hidden gem. I think it's great. I think it's a wonderful deck. And thank you, Lennon, so much for creating this. It feels really inspired. It feels channeled. It feels like almost, I don't know what the process was, but playing with those cards and reading with those cards feels like it was downloaded, or you were just a channel for those energies. And it feels, because of the art style, it feels raw. It feels not academic. Like it doesn't look like an art student would come up with, but it feels more in the emergency, it feels more like it has to be out. Like I have this big ball of energy and it has to be out on the card in colors. It feels raw, it feels real, it feels both spiritual and grounded, as I said at the beginning of the video. It's weird to explain, but it feels really magical. It feels energetic and magical and great. I really love this deck. I'm sorry, I sound like an infomercial, I know, but I really do love this deck, and we should talk more about this. I want to see spreads with these cards. I want to see more. I want to see other interpretations of those cards. I think it's a wonderful tool. It's a wonderful deck, and it's very unique. Doesn't look or feel like any other decks that I have in my collection. So it's very special, and I'm so happy I have this. And yeah, it's very inspiring. Thank you so much, Lennon, for this deck. Thank you so much, the viewers, to hear me ramble for so long about this thing. And and I'll see you tomorrow for another day. I swear the videos will be shorter. I swear. It's just that this is a special case. I had a lot of things to say. Okay, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow.